All right. So, for the past few weeks, we have been talking about the five faculties, and how we understand its characteristic, and how we also arouse it, and also how we can able to sustain it, and how we can balance it by arousing it more when it's needed, reducing it when it's not needed. And all these things has to come together with the mindfulness. And all these are really, by a flick of an eye, just by a second or two. Sometimes when you become so proficient, things get balanced much more faster. Or even things before you want to change, you already know it's signs that things are coming in already. Then you are already able to rectify the whole situation. Yeah? So it is indeed interesting to understand these faculties and this power. And there are always trial and error as we go on further and further. As we understand these five faculties and also the five powers better. Now tonight we're going to, in a way, consolidate them, these five faculties, so that we create suitable conditions internally and also externally, that these five faculties and these five powers, they can able to work well. They can work well. Because meditation is not just you sit down, close your eyes, and that's it. No, there's a lot of other condition that we also have to look into. And when you look into those things, those things become very helpful for the mental development, and for the progress, and also for a quick progress, actually. So we're going to look into it. This one is called the 9 ways of sharpening or strengthening the faculties. The 9 ways of strengthening or sharpening the faculties. And this one is being mentioned in the Visuddhimagga. And this Visuddhimagga has been talked about it from 1,000 over years ago, almost 2,000 years ago, I think. And they already know the external condition and what are those things that is suitable for a meditator, even for us right now. Although right now we are in the pandemic situation, we may not able to do much of retreat, but hopefully we're able to bear up in mind. And in the future, when things are getting better, then hopefully you can put everything into practice. Okay, let us show you some, this one, sharing the screen. Okay. Can you all see? Okay. All right. Now, here there are 9 ways of strengthening or sharpening the faculties. Let us go through briefly first. 1. One sees impermanence in all formations. One strive carefully. 3. One strive continuously. Number 4. One remembers the way to attain samadhi. Number 5. One strives suitably. Number 6, one balances the factors of enlightenment. Number 7, one strives disregard of body, health, and life. Number 8, one overcomes mental and physical pain by effort. Number 9, one does not stop halfway. So this one, we're going to look into it, and they are quite. Maybe I'll take two talks just to cover it. Even with the two talks, I'm already sort of like concise them already. Okay. Now here, when we say sharpening or strengthening the faculties, this time is not in the time when you are right at the sitting, right at the meditation. I mean, there are certain aspect of it, but there's certain degree of them. It is have to do with your external way of how you look at things and so on. Or what are external condition also. Okay? Now, let us take a look at number one. Number one is not too difficult to understand. And it's quite easy to understand actually. One sees impermanence in all formations. Here, formation again, this is sankhara. Sankhara again means bodily formations and mental formation. Bodily sankhara, mental sankhara. Okay? Now, when you say impermanence, so therefore, I put here, even in reflection, everything will undergo change or destruction. Even in reflection, that means in our everyday life, okay, in our everyday life, that one have to bear up in mind, well, keep in mind in our mental states. You keep in mind that everything that will change, go into impermanence, go into destruction. Destruction also is another aspect of impermanence, because they get destroyed, they disappear, and so on. So this impermanence is not something for us to be sort of like philosophize it. What it means here is that you have to reflect it, and then you keep it in your heart. Not just thinking about it, but in the heart there's nothing. And here, even in meditation also, while if you're a beginner and you may not able to see the rising, falling, in breath, out breath, how they really change, how they really have the moment-to-moment impermanence, but then you have to keep in the back of the mind, At least you know that all that you're noticing, they will undergo change. They will undergo destruction. They will undergo anicca. Kind of like a back of your mind. Sometimes one of the things is that, especially when it's connected to something that is pleasant to us. When we meditate, when something is pleasant, we always wants it to stay there for a longer period of time. Even with sometimes with the experiences, even with the rising, falling, or in breath, out breath, or metta, everything is going smoothly, everything is going nicely, and yet, although we can see things are changing, and sometimes at the back of your mind, we want it to be a bit more longer. And there, when we want it a bit more longer, that means we don't want to change so much. We want to see what is going on in front of us, because it is satisfying and is pleasant, at least at that moment of time. And then when things get changed, and then that experience starts to change, whatever formation that is going on with the mental process or physical process, when it starts to change, sometimes we query our intention, we query our noting. I mean, we want to see that previous experiences again. I mean, I'm not ready to move on yet to see a new experience, because I still kind of like that meditation which is interesting to me at that moment of time. So that means you're not embracing, there's not fully embracing change or impermanence, because at the back of the mind, you still want things to stay there for a while, until you feel, or you think that you feel enough, then only you feel that you want to change. No, it's not like that. So that one, although it is a very sort of a small part in our back on our mind, and a lot of times yogis does not take notice of these things. So it is important that we take note of it. We take note of it, that during in the meditation, whether you're walking, whether you're sitting, whether you're doing all kinds of daily activities, everything, every phenomena, every experiences, they will change. And then also, when it comes to the everyday life also, then this everyday life thing, sometimes we have to be more mindful, more careful in directing the mind towards the physical phenomena or people or things or situation. Take, for example, our loved ones. You have some of you may have young children. You may have in a teenage, maybe in toddler, maybe as a baby, maybe in 20s, 30s, and so on. So here, sometimes you have to direct, the impermanence towards them also, that you reflect that they too will change. They too will grow up. They too will grow old, or they too may grow sick, or they may get better, or they may change, or when they're wealthy or healthy, then things may change for the worse, and when from the worst, the things may change from the better. And sometimes the directed impermanence towards the people that we love, then sometimes it has more impact, rather than we just think everything is impermanent, everything is nice, everything is okay, everything I can able to accept impermanence. But when your family members, your loved ones starts to change, starts to have all differences, then that's where our heart begin to feel it strongly, because we have impermanence to everything, but maybe our loved ones, they don't want to change it that fast. We want it to stay like that. So you got to be careful in our reflection. So it's good that sometimes, as I said, this impermanence, we direct it to the things or directed to the people, especially the people that we love. Our children, our husband, our wives, our siblings, to direct to them. Sometimes when things are gathering together, when people are gathering and so on, or your family members are gathering, and then here sometimes when you are, sometimes with a short amount of time when you are alone, then you have to kind of reflect that this nice, beautiful, joyful occasion, those things may not last. May not last. They will change. And these people, what I've seen right now, perhaps I may not able to see them the next time or in the future. So that is something that we have to really reflect on. And although we say that it's easy for us to reflect on this impermanence, but actually a lot of people do not even want to look into this impermanence. Yes, they can see impermanence in the weather, or the weather change and so on, because it doesn't really affect them so much. But when it's very close to you, people that are very close to you, or things that is very close to you, they do not want to look into it as impermanence. They don't want to look at it as they will undergo change. Because all these things, for them, is like, it's a touch wood situation. When now we got wealthy already, what do you mean things will change? Yeah, touch wood. Touch what wood? sometimes even this, even we Buddhists, we have all this perception, all this wrong perception, and so on. Sometimes there are devotees talking to me, and then sometimes we say that things are changed. Wealth may go. Oh, Bante, Bante, don't say that. Touch wood. And then you go and find some table to go and touch. I mean, we don't. I mean, right in front of us, of course, we already see what is happening, but we can't say it because we are in a different topic. Sometimes we say that they are not feel very happy, but all these type of things are that they don't want change. They don't want change when they don't want to see the area when actually undergoing change. So with that, even in our everyday life, as I said, it's better for us to direct the impermanence to the actual things or to the actual people. Every now and then, of course, we reflect it in the whole that everything will change. But every now and then, you got to direct it to the people that you love, people that very close to you, or your wealth, or your health also. As much as we think that we are healthy, some of us may think that, hey, I think this COVID will not come to me one. Oh, really? We just never know how close we have all this encountering with all this COVID and all that. And some of us here, some of the devotees here that is listening to the talk right now, whether in Facebook or in this one, they have gone through with the COVID thing too, actually. Yeah. And some of us, we thought that we are just staying at home, nothing is going to touch us. All these things, you thought that you are free. I don't think so. Sometimes I think that with this situation, with this whole world pandemic, including in Malaysia, where the figures are going up, going down, going up, going down. So there are some doctors says that it is not whether you get it or not. It is only when you will get it only. But when you get it, as long as you have those vaccine and so on, then it's so much more better. Yeah, you're going to be another flu, stay at home and things like that. But of course, there are some of us think that we are not able to going to get it and so on. So bear in mind that our health, our life, that it will undergo change. It will undergo change. So you got to be specific. You got to be directed towards it. Then only our mind can able to learn to accept them better, to able to expand our horizon, and also when it change, when the health change or your wealth change or when the people change, then you don't suffer so much, because that time in the beginning there are so much rehearsal that you have done in the mind that you are already able to accept those things. But actually when things come, the mind can actually accept them so much more better. You're so much more ready for it. So even when the time when death comes, because of there's a lot of reflection, in a way, you're quite ready for it. In a way, you will not also fall into too much of craving and attachment to life or to the people that you love, because you just can't let go. Yeah? So this impermanence, it's a very good thing for you to reflect. And as I said, it is good that we directed it to direct it to the person that we love, to the things that we hold on to the health, to the wealth, to our life. So this is something that it is good. And when you're able to do those things, you reflect again and again. And then when you come into the Vipassana meditation, and especially Vipassana meditation, then you can able to accept things that are changing. You are much more ready for it. Because when when you come into vipassana, when things are changing, when things are actually anicca at that time, sometimes it can be scary. Sometimes it can be fearful. Sometimes a lot of yogis are not ready for it. They come, they can meditate. They cannot to say they cannot meditate, but when it comes to change and impermanence, and the impermanence get into stronger aspect, and then you see the destruction of this whole mind and body repeatedly again and again. Then the fear comes out. Then the miserableness of the mind arises, and those things are connected with the dukkha. So these things are important for us to reflect even in our daily life. You don't take it mildly, but you take it more seriously. Take it more seriously. And it's good that sometimes once in a while when we talk to devotees and so on, at least the people that I've met and going to meet, because most of the time when those that I've met is more connected to meditation group. And those people who are in the meditation, then they reflect a lot of anicca in many ways, in their lives, in their things, in their loved ones, and so on, which is very good. So for those who have not done so, that will be good that in our everyday life, we'll reflect on this impermanence every now and then. It's going to be very helpful for you. Right? Okay, let us go to number 2. Number 2, again here in the Visuddhimagga, in the Visuddhimagga, I already mentioned that one strives carefully, and this is mentioned again and again in the suttas and also in the commentaries like in the Visuddhimagga. That one strive carefully. One strive carefully means one strive thoroughly, one strive seriously, or one strive with respect. The word with respect here, sometimes when you read especially some of the sayadaws that they've written down, and they translate into English, they translate it with respect. So we mean with respect, that means you have to be thorough in your noting. This is one of the things, thoroughness in the noting, that for me is that I have to emphasize it again and again and again and again. And throughout the whole retreat, if you are with me, it's about being thorough. Thorough if you are in US, thorough if you are in Malaysia or UK and so on. So we strive carefully, we strive thoroughly, we strive seriously. Sometimes the seriousness of it is that it's not only you are serious, Sometimes it's the teacher also is very serious. Especially when you come into Vipassana meditation, Burmese style. You look at some of the sayadaws' face. You go there also, sometimes you fear of talking to them. Sometimes you go into the interview also, your hand also like shake first before you bow down also shake. The fear is there. Because they are not going to laugh at you. And don't think that you come into an interview session, you can make your humor and so on. Sometimes I do that, because some yogis are just too serious, like want to explode already. Then you need to do this one. But if you go to a sayadaw's one, there's no such thing as laughing one. You laugh, you go inside there. They'll think that you are not serious already. They'll think that when you meditate, just take it tidak apa, take it easy only. Then they will give you all kinds of everything, If they will give you all kinds of, if they can speak English, then it is worse. If they can do only translation, then you only half the impact only, because everything has to cross over the translator, and sometimes the translator has toned down already. Because sometimes the side is so serious. But the translator feel that then he tones down and then he translate to you. Then the one who listen and you are the one who listen, you don't feel the impact anymore. Or if you really can understand Burmese, really, as if every left, right, center, you get hit by a spear or arrow or something like that, hard. And then you come out, you feel so much bruise. So they are serious. They're very serious. In their seriousness, in their seriousness, they want the yogi to progress. At the end of the day, they want the yogis to progress. But if you see them this side in other times, not in the vipassana time, not in the retreat time, they're actually very, very nice people. They are very easy people. They can laugh, they can smile, and so on. But when they come into meditation, then they're like that. So sometimes, even in some yogis, then some yogis, you come in, I'm very serious with you. But some yogis are too serious. I have to soften it a little bit. It all depends. But it's just to show you that the whole practice, it needs to be done seriously, have to done with respect, have to done thoroughly. And the word thoroughly here is that when you come into your own practice, then the instructions that's given to you, how to do the walking, how to do the sitting, how to do this one, you have to take it serious. You have to take it again and again. Sometimes it's not that you know the technique only. Sometimes also for me, once in a while, I still turn on what people talk about how to do a walking meditation. Not that I do not know, but once in a while, I still listen to some teachers. They want to talk about walking meditation. Yes, I open up the mind and listen to them. Talk about how to do sitting meditation. I listen to them. How to watch, how to do this rising, falling, how you should not, and when it rise, you should not how it rise. These things also, I still listen to them once in a while, not all the time, but once in a while. And I feel interesting because again, here different teachers have different ways of just giving the same points, the same way. The object itself. Then different teachers have different way of giving the instructions, which is interesting. So here we strive thoroughly, we strive carefully. Now, in the times when we're striving thoroughly, carefully, then there are always also technique and ways how to strive thoroughly, how to strive seriously. And throughout all these years, and how we meditate, and also because of those years, I moved from one place to another place to learn the techniques of meditation. I know there are certain places I learn much more. Certain places in Vipassana, I learn a little bit here and there already. Some places, I listen to them, I find that, yes, they're speaking about rising, fall. Can you all hear me now? Okay, all right, good. And again here, I said again, sometimes because in the past I traveled in the different places, and then there are certain places, as I said, I learn much more. Certain places I learn a little bit only. And some places, even in the same Mahasi technique, I learn nothing much. Not to say I disrespect the teachers, but the things that they can't give me anything much more deeper than that. Anything much more deeper than that. So there are places, I find it, there are places who can able to give me much more And I learned a lot from them. Yeah. But throughout the day, throughout the years, the teachers can give you, or well, whoever they are, they can give you that much only. Finally, is that whatever that you want to learn is finally on your own. And when you do it thoroughly and you do it seriously, that is where you really learn. You really learn about the whole technique itself, and you can able to use it again and again and again and again. Every time you come in for a retreat, you do it again and again and again. Then you find that the progress will keep on going. Now, if you are not thorough, if you come into a retreat and you just like sembang with other yogis, you just like have a chit chat with other yogis, or you come into a retreat, or use your so-called retreat, they come in, they clean up the temple, sweep the temple, do a bit of do a lot of chanting, do a lot of other things other than just meditation. Then here you can call yourself a yogi. You can and you can come back again and again, and you do this type of way of so-called retreat. Then you're not going to progress anywhere. You may feel you're spiritually calm. You feel that you're much more spiritually connected because you're connected with the temple, you're connected with the monks, you're connected with the nuns, you're connected with other devotees. You feel that you're spiritually inclined, but you're not progressing in terms of meditation. Because why? You're not striving thoroughly and you're not striving carefully. You're just there only. And this one is many people, many devotees, they thought that just by going to a temple, just do some good, and they feel good. They thought that they are progressing. I mean, they're progressing in the wholesome deeds, avoid a lot of unwholesome deeds, yes, one way. But in terms of meditation, in terms of mental development, they are not there yet. Yeah? So it's important that while we are in the meditation retreat, we got to strive and strive and strive. Yeah. What else is there? Then there are also, and that one may touch a little bit on the suitability, but anyway, I'll touch it a little bit here in number 2. When you go to a meditation center, you make sure that this is a meditation center that is doing the type of meditation that you are doing, that you want to do. You don't go to a meditation center that, let's say, you want to do anapanasati in a samatha way, and then you want to go to a vipassana meditation. Then after that, sometimes there are some yogis says that, I want to come to meditate. How come you are not accepting me? Yeah. Because again, not to say that we do not respect your meditation, not that the temple do not respect your meditation, but you are not able to fit in because of the difference in the meditation. So it is good that when you want to find the type of meditation to strive carefully, you have to go to a place where all of them are doing the same meditation as you. Sometimes, if you go to a certain temple or certain monastery, and you are alone striving carefully, right step, left step, walking, sitting, and the rest of the people, they are not. They are sitting, they are sweeping, helping in the kitchen, they are cleaning, and so on, And then when they look at you with a kind of distaste. They kind of like unhappy with you, kind of like not pleasant with you because you're not helping out in the temple. Here you are, just walk and sit only. What are you doing? Then they may think, what are you doing? Sit there, and walk, sit. You're not helping out anything at all. So with that, then people are unhappy with you. They are very unhappy with you, and then you try to meditate there. Then it finds that after a while, maybe a few days later, there are some devotees who are more kaypoh one, more disturbing one, will come and talk to you, will come and disturb you, will come and ask you this and ask you that, why you're doing this, why you're doing that, and explaining, and you can sort of like you have to go and explain your situation and so on. So usually I do not recommend if a yogi wants to go to these type of places when it's not your own, your suitable people around you. Because it affects the way you meditate. And then you cannot, when these people are like that, and then you try to meditate and you try to walk and you try to sit, they find that you are not doing anything else. You are not doing anything. So, very difficult to meditate. So you cannot do the things that you want to do. So you have to find a place where it is you can actually do the practice thoroughly and you can do the practice seriously. So you have to look for the place. And here we are in some centers here, or especially if I'm teaching, although sometimes I'm teaching, because when I'm teaching, I'm alone only. I cannot be everything able to look into it. Although I can look into everything, but not at the same time. While we sometimes, there are yogis, while we are interview here, I'm interview here, at the back there, they can start talking. Somewhere at the back, and they thought that I got no ears, no eyes on her. Sometimes I just stop the whole interview, then I go walk to the back there, and then if my mood is really bad, then out you go, because it's really disturbing. It's really, really disturbing. But in other places, there are several monks or several teachers. They are around the area, so you cannot be quiet, You cannot do this and do that. So you got to be. That time you got to be very careful. But anyway, there are people who still don't care, don't bother. So you have to strive carefully. You have to strive thoroughly in this practice. If there's no thoroughness or no seriousness in this practice, you're not going to go anywhere. For those people who are never meditate before, don't be too scared by this, After all, go into a meditation retreat. It's not a holiday, Go into a meditation retreat is a striving part of it, Some people thought that they go to a meditation retreat, I can free from all my thinking of all the world, of my jobs, of my responsibility. Then I go to retreat, I can rest, I can relax, I don't have to do all so much things. Don't have that wrong idea, just to remind for those who are new, but doesn't mean that striving is suffering. Yes, there's a little bit of suffering is there. You got to really have to push, but it's not like suffering until you become crazy and so on, because the teachers are there to help you. So here you got to really have to push yourself. All right? This is what we call strive carefully. Number 3, strive continuously. Now, this again, if you are a meditator, then you have been done a number of retreats before, then you understand what it means by striving continuously. Now, striving continuously, it means that there's the mindfulness, especially the mindfulness, has to be continuous throughout the whole day. You have to keep on arousing it and sustaining it. To do this continuous striving, then the technique of to make it continuous is to have walkings and sittings and daily activities, continuously throughout the whole day. Then in the retreat, when we have say continuously, that means that the moment that you wake up, then after a while, you start to do your walking meditation, and then sitting meditation, and then breakfast, and then after that walking and sitting and walking and sitting, and then after that lunch, and then after that walking, sitting, walking, sitting, walking, sitting, walking until at night. This is what we meant by continuously, externally at least, But that external action, that walking, that sitting, it brings about, it arouses that mindfulness. Because we need that mindfulness to be continuous. Therefore, our technique, our tactics, our strategy also needs to be continuous. External strategy, that means the body has to be continuous. We keep our duties, responsibility, or worldly duties, responsibility, we keep it as far as possible. Because those things will stop the continuity. Those things will stop the continuity, like when you start doing your mobile phones, your tablet, and your messaging, and so on. Those things really kills the continuity of that mindfulness, or the faculties in this sense. So therefore, we have to keep this aside. You know that it's very difficult for you to do anything continuous at home. Even you stay alone. Even you stay alone. Even you have a place on your own. But when you stay alone also, it is not easy to strive continuously because of why? You have to cari makan. Not in the sense of going out for work, but literally you have to look for food to eat. You have to buy food. You have to store it. You have to plan it. How much food to be in the fridge, or how much food to be there for that duration. What should you do? You have to kind of like do everything. Whereas when you're in the retreat session, we don't have to do all these things. These are somebody else will go and think about those things. You go, you show up your face in the dining hall, you eat mindfully, then makan already, finish your eating, and then that's it. That you can go. You wash up and then you can go. You don't have to worry about so many things. So it's so much more easier. You don't have to plan all these things. You don't have to go out and buy all these things. Yeah. So that's why when you are at home, it's not easy for us to be continuous. At home, you have your children. Perhaps if those who are married, you have children. You have husbands. You have a wife to take care of. You have your bills to pay. You have your whatever other relatives to take care, and so on. And once in a while, those things may crop up. Something crop up, health crop up, and whatever. Things crop up, and then your mind cannot able to focus on your meditation. Your mind has to do all kinds of other things. So therefore, you cannot able to do continuously at home. As much as we want to, but it's not easy. We need that continuity when we are away from people, away from responsibility. Then the situation is right. But nevertheless, when we are in the retreat, we need to have that continuity of practice. Walking, sitting, and so on. Now, on a smaller scale, like in the situation like right now we are locked down in at home. A lot of us, like especially in Malaysians, we do not really want to go out because we do not know who is having the disease and so on. We do not want. We want to stay at home. Uh, Now, if you want to meditate, a continuous part of it, then what you can do is that perhaps you may set aside a number of hours for yourself. Now, for example, you set, let's say, 4 hours for yourself. You block the 4 hours. So let's say from 6 p.m. in the evening until 10 p.m. at night. This time, I'm going to put everything aside. I'm going to put everything aside. I'm going to put all the mobile phones aside. If you are able to stay alone, then you perhaps these things you could able to do better. You finish your lunch or breakfast or your dinner or whatever. You finish everything. Then for that 4 hours, you try to do it continuously. A mini retreat at home. A little part of it only. We're not expecting you to do everything. Other times you do whatever you need. So 6 to perhaps 6 to 10 or 2 to 6 or 2 to 10 o'clock. How much time you want to give for yourself is up to you. But that time, then you turn off your phone, you turn off your tablet, you turn off your TV, you turn off everything. You tell your your loved ones and so on, don't come and disturb me. I'm on a half-day retreat. Perhaps it will work, because when there's a continuity of it, sometimes let's say from 6 to 10, maybe what will happen is that the beginning part of say maybe 6 o'clock to 7, sometimes the mind a bit running. Because you keep on pushing it, then it comes to like when it comes to like 8:30, then the mind settle down already. Then at least you have like 8:30 maybe or 8 o'clock. Then until 10 o'clock, you have at least at a good time that the mind is settled, that you can practice and so on. Then you do something like this, and it's good actually. Rather than let's say you have 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. The 2 hours in the morning you practice, then after that you want to settle down already, and then you have to do all your chores and everything. Then after that, in the evening again, you want to start again for another 2 hours. Then again, you need to cool the mind down, cool it. Then by the time you want to start really meditation, 2 hours gone. So my suggestion is that you want to strive a mini retreat at home. If you want to do a little mini retreat at home, then you block that time for yourself for a period of time, let's say for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so on. Just for that time. I think when you discuss it with your family members, actually it can actually work, because only a few hours of your time only. Maybe you have to discuss with your children or those people who don't understand. So a little mini retreat at home, which you have a period of time which is good. Although some of us may not have so much time because we still have work to do, which is in a way is still a blessing, because a lot of people don't have work to do. Then of course we may not able to do that. We can able to do, maybe we can give ourselves maybe an hour per day meditate. But if you just have that hour, then you take that hour. But perhaps if you have in the weekend or some holidays that you may have, then you can lengthen the time a little bit more for your practice. So that will be beneficial for a number of you who wants to do some retreat at home. And also it's good that don't look into the COVID numbers, how many are there. This is one of the big source of worry. Every day things will go up, go down, go up, go down, go up, go down. People worried about all these numbers. As I said, if you put the numbers aside, if you need to go out, wear your mask properly, wear everything properly, then whether the cases are low or cases are up, then you still be vigilant and mindful of where you go out. Then that time you don't have to worry about the numbers so much. Yeah. So all you need to do is take care of yourself properly in that sense. Then that time, because of that worry, when you don't have that so much worry, then when you come into the meditation, then you don't have that sort of mental worry that is always hanging at the back of the mind. That would be good for all of you actually. So one, strive continuously. Okay. Number 4. One remembers the ways to attain samadhi. One remembers the ways to attain samadhi. Here one remembers the way. That means after trial and error, after you did a lot of trial and error, then there will be times you will be much more aware of your own meditation. You know yourself better than even the teachers knows you. You kind of like, let's say, for example, you do your walking meditation, let's say, you do your walking meditation. And then one of the particular walking that you have done, you find that, hey, this walking meditation, how come my mind is much more calmer and can able to follow the steps more clearly than before? What have I done? Not while you're doing that walking, but after you come out from that walking meditation, once in a while, it is good that we take a note, or we write down, or we have a mental note that hey, this walking seems to be much more better than the rest of the walking. What have I done? So you look into your, how do you begin? What is in the middle and what is in the end? That's one thing. Or perhaps you look into what were you doing before you were start to walk. Now, then when you remember those things, then you sort of like learn to create the situation, or to create the whole situation, the scenario again in the future walkings. And you find that sometimes it helps. It helps to keep the mind down, keep the mind calm. Sometimes there are certain paths of the walking meditation at home, and you find that particular path, it's much more quieter, perhaps more, nobody goes there to walk, maybe in the garden and so on, In Malaysia, the garden, you go out in the garden, mosquito will find you. Perhaps if you are in the overseas, different places, colder country, maybe it is quite a good place. But then make sure that your eyes and so on don't look here and there. You stay. The eye stays 5 or 6 feet in front of you, but you learn to pay attention to your walks. And when you do that, you find that, hey, this walking, it feels good. It feels wonderful. Then see whether you can able to repeat that or not. This is what we mean by understanding as a general way how we remember, how we go into samadhi. Samadhi here, it means also mindfulness, effort, concentration, wisdom factor, and so on. All these things involved. Primarily is that mindfulness that we want you to develop. Because once that mindfulness comes in, the rest of the faculties will follow suit. So it is important that we take note of those things. We remember how we do the walking meditation. Perhaps during in the sitting also the same thing. During in the sitting. Sometimes after you have done a number of sittings, then you can find that if you rush yourself, for example, there are some people who rush, sit down and they want to quickly go into their rising, falling, or in breath, out breath. After that, they find that the mind doesn't go into clarity. It goes into like sleepiness or dull, or goes into a lot of thinking. It depends on the yogis. And they go into all kinds of, then they try to, this one, then it cannot. Then after that, they think about it. Hey, maybe I should do something else first before I come in. Then if he finds that, he meditates, then he finds that, hey, when I do the whole body scanning, when I find that I do the body scanning, then, it's sort of like when I later part, when I switch over to my in-breath, out-breath, or to switch over to my rising, falling, it's so much more better. The mind can able to stay with the object better than before. And then you remember the ways of how you did that meditation. How you come to that clarity of meditation. Then again, the time factor also, or the throughout the day also. Then here, is also to understand our biorhythm of our body. The biorhythm of the body, for some people, early morning, it's a very good time for them to meditate. For me, you ask me to meditate at 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Not my time. Although in the retreat, I still wake up at 4 o'clock, but it's not a very fruitful meditation. For me, it's not a good time. But for others, it may be a very good time for them. They're 5 o'clock in the morning, my goodness, they sit so straight, so clear. And a lot of their reports, sometimes I interview them, their reports, when is your good sitting? My good sitting is at 5 o'clock in the morning. Wow, my goodness. Okay, good. Then tell me. Because most of my good sittings will be in the afternoons, towards like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock onwards until evening. Then that is my best session. So usually in the afternoon, when things are going well, and I know my body is like that, that time I don't do every other things already. No such thing as going for like doing your laundry in the middle of the afternoon, or go down and make a drink. All these small little things, I keep myself apart. Unless I need to go to the toilet, then I go to the toilet, and then we come out and we continue striving. There's no such thing as break at that time. You break for a drink, break for this, break for that. That's why the mind can strive continuously, and it knows that because of that time the mind is alert, it's easier for the samadhi to come in, the clarity to come in. So too when you are in the retreat, when you are at the best time, and even you want to do that mini retreat of yours, let's say, and you know that time you are good, your mind is alert, your mind is clear, then hopefully you can able to block that time to do your mini little retreat. And the samadhi comes in much more better than some other times when you are not fully, at your optimum level. So this is one way to understand our technique of how we meditate. Especially this will be good, especially when you are a beginner. There's a number of things that mentioned here is for beginners. But more advanced yogi, the remembering of how you meditate and to bring about that continuity and that clarity, it's much more refined. It's like when you need to, when you are much better cook, like for example, you're much better cook, you know exactly how much sugar or salt just to throw in. A little bit more, you know that, this is not going to be good. Or you know that oven to set at the right temperature at the duration that you want to go. If not, your cake and your whatever is going to go haywire. And you just know. So too, when you're getting better and better in meditation, also that there's micro tuning of that meditation of the mind, that you just switch on off or a little bit more, a little bit less, then the whole meditation will proceed on more continuous, much more penetrative for that period of time. But again, here we must remember faculties are also still in a state of impermanence. We have to keep on tuning it again and again. As we become more clearer, then we find that it's so much more easier. Sometimes the tuning, it can be like all this time when we talk about the faculties, those days, those talks I've talked about the faculties. These are what we call a micro tuning. When you sit down, you find that, let's say, your mind is a bit thinking starts coming in already. It starts coming in the thinking. Then the moment you know it, then you switch over to another object, to another more calm object. Then just to keep the mind down, and then after that we go into rising, falling again, or to the main objects again. For example, like in the walking meditation, the micro tuning sometimes is just like you find that the tightness a little bit come in a little bit more, and you know that the mindfulness is already starts to wobble in the, not the body wobble, the mindfulness wobble. That means the mindfulness is not in the state of balance in that way. You can feel it that it's coming in. Then with that micro change in the speed of the walking itself, just a little bit change, maybe go a little bit faster, maybe slightly slower, then everything goes into balance again. And it's just that micro change. Outside, you can't even see what is, outside people can't even see what is going on, but you yourself can see it very clearly. Just that little change, then there is a balance there. And that is what we mean by remembering the ways how to go into a samadhi. As you go into from a beginner level, as you grow into a more and more advanced level, the way of how we remember those things becomes much more interesting, and also it becomes tinier. Although when you are doing it, it is very clear to you. Not only you are in vipassana, but for those who are in samatha meditation also, those are in samatha meditation also, that let's say you are taking an in-breath, out-breath as your object of your meditation, and you're doing, you want to go into jhana. Well and good, fine. Because that too, you must remember how you get into that nimitta, the mind-created object. Say, for if you sit down, you take the in-breath, out-breath. When after you take the in-breath, out-breath, how to maintain that in-breath, out-breath, you also know. Then when the nimitta comes in, should you go into it? Or you are not ready? You also know. Sometimes when, even for advanced meditator, they know that even the nimitta or the mind-made object, the mind-made object, when it comes out, the yogi feels that I'm not ready to see these things yet. Then he goes back to the in-breath, out-breath. So he knows that the mind is not ready, he knows. But when the mind is ready, he knows that the mind is ready, he knows when to take up that object, that mind-made object. Then also the same thing, when it comes to this nimitta, and when it comes into jhana, also the same thing. The yogi knows that is the mind ready to go into a deeper aspect of the absorption, or the yogi is not ready yet. Then you know that there's a feel for it, There's a feel for it after you go through here a number of times of meditation. You kind of like, is it ready or you're not ready for it? So too sometimes in in vipassana meditation, also the same thing. Then you kind of like, hey, now is the time to push further. Now is the time to relax that thing. Now is the time to cultivate this and that and so on. Uh, uh, uh. So this is what you mean by remembering the ways of how to do this meditation. Yeah? Now, when it comes to I think the fifth one, 6 and 7, 8 and 9, I'm going to talk about it on the Wednesday. Yeah? I'm going to talk about it on Wednesday. Then there's also a number of things that we can discuss over here. Even the number 1 to number 4 that I've spoken, it's kind of like summarize a lot of things already. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to look into it on Wednesday again. Okay. So we stop here for tonight.